Is doing tonight's edition of Media Watch. You're all over this Dominique Strauss-Kahn case. What have you got for us?
Absolutely. As Nathan said, the tabloids in New York are, of course, taking the lead once again in this story. Now, remember, in the beginning of this story, they had some fantastic headlines, Pepe Le Perv, and these very kind of flamboyant headlines. They've toned that down a lot, and that's a reflection of the change in the story now. Instead of focusing on DSK, who's not as well-known a figure in the United States, the tabloids are taking a closer look at the district attorney, Cyrus Vance. Let's take a look at what the New York Post has today. Now, interestingly enough, they buried this story quite deep, but they're focusing on the DA filing to reveal new bombshells about DSK accusers' credibility. Interesting to see here a much tamer headline, a story that was buried quite deep on their site and also buried on their paper as well. So the interest level, although today outside the court may be high, on the paper itself, it is not quite as high. Another one of the New York tabloids, the Daily News, getting back to their more flamboyant headlines, while Dominique Strauss-Kahn may not be guilty of sexual assault, he is guilty of being a creep. And I think that's the dominant sense that you're getting on a lot of the social networks, is that the guy may have gotten off legally, but he's a jerk. And a lot of the revelations that we've heard about Strauss-Kahn's sexual life in both in the United States and elsewhere over the past few months have come to confirm that in the public mind, and the New York tabloids obviously are picking up on that. A slightly more tame view coming from the New York Times, which we would expect, again, once again, focusing on the district attorney. Political fallout may follow decision on Strauss-Kahn. This is a reflection that a lot of people don't understand about the American legal system, is that the district attorney is actually an elected politician. So there's a political side to the story outside of the legal ramifications, and the legal decisions is whether or not this is good for Cyrus Vance's professional political career. Some said he had aspirations for Senate and the governor, and so maybe some of the details as to why he's deciding to drop the charges from this case, if he does in fact do that, are political.
Can I just bring in Ron Soffler again, once again a lawyer here in Paris and in New York. We heard there that one person saying that, you know, Strauss-Kahn may well get off in this case. He's still a creep. Do you think then that perhaps the US legal system has let Diallo down?
No. If everything that we've been told is true, she has let herself down. The problem is that you have to prove culpability beyond reasonable doubt, which is completely different than the French system, which tries to investigate what actually happened. It really, in the American system, it really doesn't matter what actually happened. What matters is what could be proven beyond reasonable doubt. And in view of all the testimony that she gave, you have to remember that unlike France, it is a crime in New York to lie to the prosecutor. It is a crime to lie to the police. Those are not crimes in France. So whatever she told the prosecutor, if it wasn't true, she committed a crime. And so with this in mind, it is not surprising that the prosecutor doesn't want to go ahead with it if it's really true that she did not tell him the truth. And there was an article in the New York Times today that said that if there was a criminal trial, the defense could have called the prosecutors that actually heard her to testify about what she said in order to prove to the jury that she lied. So they might be found in a position where they might have to testify in the criminal case against their star witness. And then no wonder why, it is no wonder why they do not want to prosecute this case.
Okay, nevertheless, though, it is big news.
It is big news, and there's one very important point in terms of the mistruths that have been said have not been about the case per se, and that's what we might hear today. But the lies that have come forward are about other parts of her past, and that's what the media is focused on again, is the fact that she's lied about her immigration status, how she got to the United States, issues of gang rape and whatnot, but that is not germane to the actual events that happened in that hotel room as far as we know so far. Let's quickly cross to the other side of the Atlantic, where there's a look at the Dominique Strauss-Kahn's political affairs here. So The Guardian leads with Dominique Strauss-Kahn set for return to French politics, and there's a lot of anticipation in the French press today about what happens when DSK comes back to France, which he hopefully will, for his sake, get back here. And Le Point was the only French media agency that put this story on the front of their page. They've now switched it to Gaddafi, but for a big part of their day, they had DSK on the front of their page. Here we are on Le Monde, one of the big French newspapers, the risk for DSK. And again, that's an examination of what happens for this man if the charges are dropped and he is able to run for president. Will he actually go through with those ambitions?
But these are not the only accusations of sexual assault, these ones by Diallo, because he's also facing similar accusations here in France.
Here in France, and also he's got a reputational issue. Is his reputation strong enough now to be able to withstand the political process of a presidential campaign?
Ron?
Well, as far as the case that is pending against him in France is concerned, there was an article today that I read that says that the prosecutor here in France is about to close the case simply because the sexual assault is, the statute of limitation is 3 years and attempted rape is 10 years, and that it will be almost impossible, according to what was said in this article, to prove that it was attempted rape as opposed to a sexual assault. So this case, the case against him in France, might also be going away very soon. I have to say one thing about Cyrus Vance. It is important to understand that Cyrus Vance could have done this differently. Instead of arresting Dominique Strauss-Kahn, he could have contacted, asked Dominique Strauss-Kahn to get off the plane, ask him to hire a lawyer, and make an arrangement with that lawyer that he should stay in New York for a few days until this case is verified. Instead, it was done in a very damaging way for both Dominique Strauss-Kahn and now we see even for Ms. Diallo.
All right, Ron Toffler, thank you very much indeed. My thanks as well to you, Eric Ollender, from tonight's Media Watch. Lots more still to come here on Live from Paris. After the break, all the latest news headlines. That's, of course, after the weather. Stay tuned.